In this video, I'm going to show you guys the exact sales script that I use to consistently close 5,000 to 50,000 B2B offers with a 57% close rate, and how even someone who has zero sales experience can close high-ticket B2B offers. And this is the back end of my invoicing dashboard. Started off part-time with 4,500 bucks, got a proof of concept that it actually works, went full-time, second month 16K, third month 23K, went into a leadership role, took a step back, and paid off tremendously. Let's face it, sales has evolved. What worked decades ago, taught by old school sales trainers, just doesn't cut it anymore. Heck, even what worked 5 years ago won't even work the same today. And it has nothing to do with the products or services that you're selling. It has nothing to do with the leads that you're speaking to. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the economy. And in fact, what I'm about to share with you is what separates the salespeople who can only make money when the economy is flourishing and everyone has money to spare from those who consistently and predictably close deals when the climate gets rough and the prospects aren't in a position to throw money around. It's the tool that dictates whether you're just another sleazy sales guy coming onto every call with commission breath versus a sales professional speaking to business owners, begging you to take their money. And before I even reveal exactly what this tool is, let me first show you what it allowed me and hundreds of others to do. Now, you see all these crazy results and these numbers, and you're probably asking yourself, what is this magical tool? And I hate to break it to you, but that's exactly what it's not. In reality, that's where most salespeople they look for the secret sauce, the best script, the best leads. What those salespeople fail to understand is that sales is not about scripts. It's not about being overly enthusiastic, and ironically, it's not even about selling. See, what sales is quite the opposite. It's about asking the right questions, building a gap, and being empathetic. And today, I'm going to show you the counterintuitive sales conversation framework, which allowed me to quit my corporate job and build a life of absolute freedom by using a little known trick which could double your close rate overnight. All right, guys, so the purpose of this presentation is obviously show you guys how to close high ticket deals online so you can practice with it and or you can apply to your existing sales calls right now. Here's what you guys are gonna gain from this video: a proven battle-tested framework, a guideline to train and practice to prepare for a closing job or sales job, and new strategies you can start implementing today. How does everybody up sales? Here's the thing, guys. People want to buy. They're coming to you because they have a problem and they know that you have the solution, right? And the reason why people up sales is because they fail to build rapport, right? What they do is they read scripts. People have this backwards. They think they have to read a word for word script so they can go and close deals, but it's far from the truth. You need to learn how to be yourself and be the complete opposite of a salesperson. The moment you try to start reading scripts and rehearse lines, people are gonna feel that. It's gonna come across as inauthentic and they feel like you're gonna sell them, especially if you're on a B2B offer. You're talking to smart people, so they know if you're reading a script or you're being yourself, right? And another thing is a lot of people use salesy tonality, meaning they're overly enthusiastic, right? Or they sound very needy, and that creates sales resistance, which is gonna eliminate any possibility for you guys to build any sort of rapport, okay? Humans are exceptionally well at sniffing out intention. If they feel like you're on the call just to get the money and close them, they'll feel it and you're not gonna get the sale. So instead, people buy from people, not salespeople. So you guys need to be more like Bob. Bob is empathetic. He shows people he understands. He takes the time to build a gap of where they are, where the prospect is, and where they want to be, and he helps them bridge that gap with their solution, right? And how do you do that? Obviously by asking good questions, smart questions with the right tonality, which we're going to come to in a second. Objection handling. I want to talk about objection handling for a second here. Objection handling should not be a normal occurrence, especially if you're talking to inbound leads, okay? I like to think about it this way. If a sales process was a human body, an objection would be a symptom of sickness. Right, so that means there's something wrong with the sales process. And the best way to handle any objection, I get this question all the time, is to prevent it from happening in the first place, right? Which is usually time, money, skill, low belief level. But it really all amounts to trust. right? Because if you can really build that trust and show them that you can help them get them to their goals, it's always a no-brainer. All right, guys, things to note about this framework. You are dealing with inbound leads, so appointments that are scheduled in your calendar, and it usually works with offers between $3,000 and $50,000. All right, so this is a 10-step framework, guys. I want you to think of this framework as, there's a lot of steps, but it really all boils down to understanding where they are, where they're trying to go, what's been holding them back, right? One island, island A, island B, what's been holding them back from getting to island B, and then show them how our solution can be the bridge between island A to island B. All right, so these are 10 steps: introduction, agenda, situational questions. There's 2 parts: vision-based questions, challenge-based questions, consequences of not taking action, showing the gap, gaining commitments, self-solution selling, one of my favorite parts, and presenting and closing. So, introduction. Guys, the first thing that you need to do on any sales call is build immediate rapport. And the way that you do that, with a cheerful and energetic tone, introduce yourself, who you are, where you're calling from, and the reason of the call. So it's gonna be something like this. Hey, Matt, this is Rome from XYZ. How you doing today? As simple as that. And make sure you have a smile on your face. Even if it's not a video call, I promise you guys, they can hear your smile and it's infectious. All right, so make sure you have a good start of your call, because you cannot make a first impression twice. All right, so after you do that, you introduce who you are, where you're calling from, the reason of the call. The first thing that you want to do is be the complete opposite of a salesperson, okay? So crack a joke, be yourself, tell them about your day, like actually what'd you do, and make sure that you're actually busy that day, or else don't tell them about your day, because you want to talk to people who are booked and busy just like them, right? You're doing business. So I always like to say, dude, I'm slammed out back to back, but I'm grateful to be busy. How you doing today, right? So just share a little bit about yourself, be a little bit different. Here's a script for you guys to copy if you want to. Agenda. So this is where you need to set expectations of the call. This is where you take control of the call and let them know how the call is going to go down exactly, so that when you're asking them questions in the call to gather intelligence, they're not like, why is he asking me so many questions? Well, you already told them you want to ask questions and you asked permission to do so. And it goes something like this. To get started, Mr. Prospect, what I want to do on this call today is that I want to ask you a couple questions, get to know you, your business, and see how we can best support you. And if I can do that, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And if not, hey, I'll point you in the right direction to the best of my knowledge. Is that cool? Simple as that. Now you're taking control of the conversation and letting them know exactly what's going to happen. And make sure you say this with confidence. All right, 3, situational based questions. There's really 2 parts to this. And what you're really doing in situational stage anyway, overall picture, is you're trying to better understand their business, them, points of commonality, to build a little bit more rapport. But really it's all intelligence gathering, right? So the first part is you getting to know the business. Now, I'm not sure what you guys' business is, but I wrote a couple questions down for you guys so you can copy and paste depending on the business. But really, you're trying to get to know what their business is, how long have they been doing it for, is it actually profitable, what do they actually sell, how do they get customers, what are their marketing strategies, what are their AOVs. Gather all the information that you actually need from them to be able to best support them. And they'll respect that. They're going to give you everything that you need so that you can best help them. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is something like, so Mr. Prospect, tell me a little bit more about your business. And they will usually open up and tell you about the business, what's going on, what are the weak points, what are they struggling with. And a pro tip for you guys, if you guys are struggling to find what's the problem in the business, then address the elephant in the room and say, hey, out of curiosity, what's the one problem that you're struggling with right now in your business? And they will just give it to you. All right, so take the questions here, whatever applies to you guys, and don't be afraid to ask away, and make sure you're actively listening. So whenever they give you a response, gotcha, I see, right? Don't be just silent. You have to show them your understanding, that you're listening to them so that they can trust you, right? It's all about building trust. Through step 1 through step 10, you're building rapport the whole time. How? Asking the right questions and using the right tonality. So speaking of tonality, guys, in situational, it's all curious, right? So tell me a little bit more about your business, right? So how many customers do you have right now? Right? What kind of marketing strategies do you use? Make sure it's a curious tone, because if you use a normal tone, people will be surface level with you. The reason why we use certain tonality is to trigger an emotional response so they can give you what you actually are looking for. Okay, so part two of situational. Once we understand what the problem is with the business, now we're trying to understand how is it affecting them on a psychological level, right? Because you need to establish that connection with your prospect on a deeper level than just business so that you can actually connect and build more rapport. And the way that you do that is once you find out what's been holding them back, you want to ask them, so, hey, Mr. Prospect, how's that been on you, man, being stuck in the same place for the past few months? When you say it like that, again, it's going to trigger that emotional response. And if you've done a good job with your intro and agenda in the first part of situational, they'll usually tell you that, life has been hell. And if someone says, man, it's been hell, don't stop there. Go a level deeper and say, hell? Tell me a little bit more about that. Show them you actually care. They're actually going to tell you like, hey, honestly, man, I've been losing sleep. I haven't been able to spend time with my daughters. I haven't been able to spend time with my wife. I haven't had time to scratch my ass. What you're doing here is you're reminding them of the pain that they're in that actually got them to be on a call with you in the first place. Super powerful, guys. All right, 4, vision. Now, once we have a good understanding of where our prospect is, now it's time to switch gears and talk about where they want to go, right? And something I like to say that you guys can use like a cool transition from situational to vision is, hey, okay, Mr. Prospect, I have a good understanding of where you are right now. Let's switch gears a bit and talk about where you're looking to take the business long term, right? And they usually say, well, I'm looking to take it to 100K this year, or looking to take it to 200K. I'm looking to 2x my income. Amazing, perfect. Don't ask why you're looking to make a lot of money to a business owner. That's a dumb question. So instead, this is what I do. And this is so powerful, guys, okay? Use it carefully. I always say, do I have permission to be direct with you? They're always like, yeah. It sounds like to me that you're looking to get a lot more work done for yourself and make a lot more money, and slow down in a concerned tone. What's all this for? And when you do it that way, you're gonna trigger an emotional response. They're gonna tell you exactly why they're trying to make a change. And dig deeper here on the response. Don't accept a surface level answer. You're looking for something juicy here. And most of them will say, oh, listen, man, Rome, like I told you earlier, man, I haven't been able to spend time with my kids for the past how many years or months. And, I've just been at a point where I want to be able to change my situation and make a little bit more money so I can have more freedom, true freedom in my life, and be there for my daughter, take her to her games, take my wife out more. She deserves a lot. She does a lot for the house. And when they start opening up like that to you, it's done. It's done. Now you just have to not up the rest of the call, okay? And the whole goal of vision, guys, is to make them imagine how their life would actually look like if they were able to succeed with your product or service, right? So that's the reason why we're trying to dig deep and try to understand, why are they really trying to make a lot of money? What's this all for? And usually it's all for personal reasons. And once you figure that out, now you have made them feel like they're already there, because those feelings of joy, of freedom, of peace, of happiness will arise in your prospect when they start talking about why they want to make this change in their life and how would their life be different if they were able to do that. Now, moving on to the next step. At this point, we figured out exactly where they are, where they want to be with their business. Now it's time to understand what's been holding them back all this time, okay? And guys, you want to use a concerned tone here, okay? Use a concerned tone. Again, tonality is everything, guys. Tonality is everything. So if you learned one thing about this video, it's not the questions, it's a tonality that comes with the question, right? So now it's time to understand why they haven't gotten there yet. And the question that I like to ask is 2 parts. Mr. Prospect, how long have you been thinking about making this change? And they would usually say, a few months or a year, whatever they say. Right after that, you want to follow it up with, gotcha. And what's been holding you back all this time from actually making a change in your business? And this is where they will tell you exactly what's been holding them back. Make sure you write it down and you address it, because here's a pro tip. This is your opportunity to completely obliterate any objections to come towards the end of the call, because 9 times out of 10, whatever was holding them back previously is going to be the same reason that they're going to be held back at the end of the call if we do not address it. So whatever they say, make sure you write it down and make sure you address it right away. Oh, I forgot I added this part here. Oh man, I don't know I was this generous to give you guys this part. Okay, fine. So urgency. A lot of people ask me, how do you build urgency? What tactics, what scarcity tactics should I use? I don't believe in any of that. What I'm about to share with you is probably the best tactic you can ever use. And it's real and it's ethical. And it goes something like this. Mr. Prospect, you've been telling me you've been struggling with this business for the past 6 months. And it's been causing you this, and that. And you want to be at a point in your life where you're able to do the things that you love with your family and have that freedom, and then slow down and say, what was that moment that made you realize that you want to make a change now? And when you say it like that, you're going to trigger that emotional response again, and they're going to tell you exactly what was that nail in the coffin that made them realize that you want to make a change today. And now you've put the whole sales call into hyperdrive. Right now, your prospect is in an action state where they're ready to buy, and now you just have to not f the rest of the call, and I can almost guarantee you it's going to be a closed deal if your product and service can actually bridge that gap from where they are to where they want to be. All right, consequential stage. This is more of like a serious and thought-provoking tone. And the objective here is not only raise urgency, but show them what are the consequences of them not making a change, right? So you'd ask them something like, Mr. Prospect, what happens if you don't make a change? They'll say something like, well, I'll be in the same hole that I am in right now. And then you follow it up with, is that something you're okay with? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be like, absolutely not. It's a very simple step, but it's so powerful because now they're just thinking about, I do not want to be in the same position next year this time. Understanding the gap. Guys, this is one of the most important things we do as salespeople is, not only build that gap of where they are and where they want to be, but show them that we've been listening the whole time. So always, it's more of like a reflective tone. And you want to recap and confirm understanding. This shows them that you've actually been listening the whole time. So recap, where exactly everything about the business, how's that been affecting them, their goals, why is it so important to them, what's been holding them back all this time. You want to really mention everything, okay, and mention the details. And don't just like read everything that you wrote down, in their situational part of the conversation and the vision part of the framework and the challenge part. Don't just read everything word for word. Try to make it sound like a natural conversation, like you're a friend, just, recapping everything that they actually told you. This is a script that you can use. So you're currently X and your goal is to be X, and the main reason why you haven't gotten there is because X. But again, guys, the X, make sure it is as detailed as possible. Mention everything that they mentioned to you. 8, gaining commitment. So this is to assess a prospect's readiness for change, and this step ensures that the prospect is able, willing, and ready to go if our solution fits. So you could say something like, hey, Mr. Prospect, if I can potentially show you a way to get you to your goals, how soon would you be ready to start? And you can be like, hey, listen, I know you mentioned that, you got a family, you're busy, you got a lot going on. Do you actually have, an hour or two every day to put towards the business to make this work? I say yes. And what you're doing here is you're building strong commitments. You're gaining major commitments, so you have a greater chance of solidifying the sale. All right, so step 9, self-solution selling, triple S. One of my favorite steps. This is where you're going to have your prospect sell themselves on what they think they need to see success. What I see a common mistake people do is they don't understand what the prospect really needs to see success, and then they go ahead and pitch something that the salesperson thinks is going to work for them. Instead, what you do is this. You ask them a simple question. So, Mr. Prospect, let me ask you, what do you think you need in order to give you the confidence to be able to see success? What do you feel like you need in order to give you the confidence to be able to make X, Y, Z goals, whatever goals that they said? And this is when they would usually tell you exactly what they think they need to see success. Make sure you write everything down. So if they say, I'm looking for one-on-one coaching, write down one-on-one coaching. If they said, I'm looking for 24/7 support, write down 24/7 support. If they said, I'm looking for a blueprint, write down the word blueprint. I'll tell you why in a second. So when you go into the pitch, make sure you include those words. If they said one-on-one coaching, say, we're gonna have one-on-one coaching. Don't say mentorship. If they said, I'm looking for a blueprint, don't say, we're gonna give you the exact roadmap that you need. Say blueprint, because that's the word that they actually like, okay? It's small things like this that's gonna make them feel like this presentation was done exactly for them. So that's self-solution selling. From your prospect's mouth, they're telling you exactly what they need in order to see success. Just write everything down and make sure you tailor that into your pitch. And if you do that right, it's going to be a no-brainer. Step 10, presenting and closing. This is when you want to be enthusiastic and confident. It's so damn important to seem like an expert in your field and have that deep conviction in your voice. And this is at a point where I'm going to deem them qualified. And I'm going to say, hey, listen, from everything that you've shared with me, not only do I feel like you'd be a good fit, but I genuinely feel like you would be a good fit for us. Would you like to know a little bit more about how we can help you? And they'll say, yes, go ahead. And make sure you're presenting the program as the tailored solution to the prospect needs that's actually going to help them bridge that gap from where they are to where they want to be. All right. And this step is obviously a quick rundown of your program, no longer than 2 to 3 minutes. Obviously, if you guys are selling a B2B offer that's a big program and needs 5 minutes, sure. But if it's something simple, do not overcomplicate it. Because at this point in the call, your prospect is 90% ready to buy. And your presentation is just the icing on the cake, because that's the power of this framework. Before you even pitch them, they're already closed, right? Now you just have to make sure the pitch is tailored to what they need, like we talked about step 9. And these are basic frameworks to use when presenting. Write down deliverables and how it's going to be beneficial for your prospect, etc. And this is an example for you guys to screenshot. Now, price drop. This is where most people f this up, surprisingly. When you're at the price drop, you're going to say something as simple as this. As a prospect, in terms of the investment, we don't do any monthly fees. We don't take a cut off of your business. It's an upfront investment of $20,000. Don't say a single word up until they speak. Who speaks first loses. And assume the sale by asking them if they have any questions before you go ahead and onboard them. So say something like, hey, Mr. Prospect, do you have any questions before we get started? And if you did this the right way, they will say, nope, let's get the show on the road. And you sign them up. Make sure it's a smooth process, by the way, okay? So don't get too excited and weird like most people. So keep it nice and chill. Send them over the link. Walk them through the checkout process. Be like, hey, I just texted you over the link. Can you open it up for me? Be like, yeah, I got it open. Beautiful. Fill out your first name, last name, email, everything there. While you do that, I'm going to set you up on my back end and log you in. Sounds good? Good. Keep it smooth, guys. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't get weird. Okay, because as soon as you get weird or excited, they're going to feel like they're being sold. And that's the exact opposite of what we're trying to do. And that's the end of the framework, guys. Now I'm going to talk about how to become a pro at this framework and make a lot of money. All right, so first of all, understand the reasoning for each step. Don't just blindly go through the script for the sake of going through it. That's a mistake I did. You're going to sound robotic and destroy any chance of building rapport. Yeah, understand the purpose of each step and don't skip them until you really feel like, you've gained the vital information on the actual calls when you do conduct them. And here's a pro tip for you guys. Be present. Don't always think about the next question, because you're going to miss out on a lot of information and you're going to fail to show your prospect that you actually understand where they're coming from if you're just constantly thinking about, oh, what's the next question? What if they say this? That's the exact same reason why you have a framework. All right, everything's already laid out for you. That's why I say focus on each step. Make sure you have everything, all the vital information of that step before you move forward. Step 2, role play. Guys, practice, practice, practice with family, friends. Join Facebook groups, so many Facebook groups where people just role play. Practice this until it feels natural for you. And like I said, it's okay to feel robotic in the beginning. That's totally fine. It's your first time doing this, okay? Step 3, put it to the test. Get yourself a sales gig, start applying it to your current sales job right now. And step 4, guys, listen to your sales calls. This is so valuable. The sales calls you've closed, sales calls you haven't closed, because success leaves clues and so does failure. All right, there's only so much that you can, be aware of while you're on the call. But when you go back and listen to your call, you can see how is your energy, how is your enthusiasm, how is the quality of your questions, how is your explanation, how confident did you sound, and then you can go and readjust. Super powerful, guys. And a pro tip, whenever you're at your low, go back and listen to the calls that you actually close and watch how easy it is to tap back into that energy so you can go ahead and bring that energy onto your next sales call. Conclusion, yes, you could navigate the path to a high closing rate and a successful sales career independently. I personally carved out my path through trial and error, and you have the potential to do the same. But there's a more efficient way. Now that you understand exactly how this process works, I have an offer for you. If you're an aspiring closer, or you're a current closer right now, and you want to master sales, or you're a person with good communication skills looking to leverage their skill set, and you want to become a high-performing remote closer and never spend a dime on leads or do a single cold call, and build a multi-six-figure income working on your own schedule, work anywhere around the world using only your phone, we'll help you master the Millionaire Closer framework and place you on a multi-seven-figure offer so we can replicate this exact process for you and see similar results to myself and the other students mentioned in a fraction of the time it would take you to do it on your own. In fact, I'm so confident that we can deliver these results to you that if you do the work and don't make an extra $20,000 a month in commissions in the next 120 days, you don't pay. That's right. And if you want to see similar results and want the same level of training and placement, hit the application link in the description below and book a call with myself for a walkthrough of how our system works. And guys, if it's a good fit, we can talk about how to work together. And worst case scenario, I'll spill the red wine on my white shirt and point you in the right direction. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Ciao.